So what was your awakening or becoming?
That happened like in my mid-20s.
Okay.
And
you look like you're not a day over 19, girl. Anyway. So, you're about to pour holy water in this chat.
Oh,
So,
what's up, everybody? You are now tuned into the Chop Up. I am Yawasante here with my good brother Bobby. We have another exclusive, African exclusive for everybody watching and tuning in. Please follow me at Clico or log into www.clico.org. Follow my brother Bobby. His IG's up there, Mr. Taka V Spoke. And yeah, we got a good one.
You know, you mentioned we have two entrepreneurs that have online businesses as well, which in terms of business is the smartest decision right now, because brick and mortar is out the window. You know, no one's going to retail stores. No one's going to the mall like that. You know, even when the mall opens, it's going to probably be empty. So your online business is probably the best option. Secondly, they're both African, which is beautiful. They're both Black Africans, which is even more beautiful. And I'm just excited to have a conversation where we can dive into, you know, how they started. You know, ladies first. So, hey, how you doing? Please introduce yourself.
Doing well. My name is Priscilla, also known as Afia, which is my line. I have a skincare line as well as I run a cosmetic business. How I started this. Basically, I was tired of my 9-to-5. I was working in medicine for about 10 years. I was over the politics. I was over just the whole, you know, dynamic of it. It was just very stressful. So I was always into cosmetics. I was always loving the fact that to make a woman feel beautiful is just something that just like fulfilled my soul. So this is what I got into. Probably like a year or two right after I left my 9-to-5. And since then, it's been pretty good, especially during this whole COVID thing. It's actually like soared, which is amazing. So yeah, so I consider myself an entrepreneur, as well as intuitive spiritual healer. So that's another side business that I do as well.
Guest number 2, my boy, Taib,
yes,
aka How's It Kicks.
All right, well, basically, I came here in 2001, and I'm from Togo, by the way.
Okay.
So I came here in 2001, and you can hear my accent. When I first came, you know, I've always wanted to sell something, because when I was a kid, when I was back in Togo, I used to take my dad's stuff and I would take it to the black market and flip it and make money on it. Mm-hmm. So it was always something in my DNA. So it wasn't like I just, you know, I always wanted to sell stuff. But when I came here, I liked sneakers when I was in Togo. I used to buy this magazine from a store, and I would look at shoes in the magazine. We can get our hands on it because in Africa, it's kind of hard. And that's like in the early 90s. You can really get those things. So when I came here, I went crazy. I used to buy shoes almost every week. And I got into collecting sneakers. And then I went from that to like selling sneakers. And that's when all things started. I started House of Kicks in 2003. And the whole goal was just to sell shoes. And from 2003 to 2009, I turned the sneaker business into a blog. So now what I do is this. I actually talk about sneakers. I do a lot of documentation. And my background is in mathematics. So that's what I went to college. I went to Hood College in Frederick. Earned my bachelor's in math, and then I turned my website into a projection / teaching people how to do business in the sneaker industry. But the most important thing that I do now is I talk about my relationship with God Himself. You know, that is the most important thing in my life. So I started another website called taibs.com, and I invested in the study of apologetics, which is really knowing why I believe what I believe. So this is where I am right now. So the business and the House of Kicks is secondary. The main thing now is really understanding the truth of the Gospels and sharing it with people. So that's my primary motivation now for why I do what I do is really sharing the gospel, and in the meantime selling sneakers because I still have to make money. So that's pretty much it.
I like all that, and the funny thing about it is you mentioned sneaker collections and authenticating. So I was gonna say Yao was gonna show his collection, but then as soon as you mentioned authenticating, I'm like,
yeah, it's got a couple of things in it.
Because 80% are not really on the market. I mean,
oh, well, you get your stuff from Baltimore, man.
Yeah. Now we're gonna talk about Chinese sneakers, because when I was in college, Bobby, you didn't know some of them Jordans I had on my feet. Woo! They ain't have no insoles in it, but I was fly though. Y'all ain't know. They had some products on discount too, but we're gonna talk about that when we talk about how he markets his business. So we got a little bit of a background as to who Priscilla is and who Taib is. So Priscilla, just to go back to what you were saying, right? So you always like helping people. You went into the business of helping others, right? And you kind of veered away from the healthcare business, right? And I'm going to go back to you, Taib, because I want to know if you actually had a regular quote unquote 9 to 5 that kind of supported your dream. But Priscilla, for you wanted to get away from the politics, right? How did you initially start the process of starting that business? Was it more so like, all right, I'm going to use this 9 to 5 to fund my dream, or I'm just going to get away from the politics of it, go to a bank, get a loan, or go to the church and ask the pastor for some offerings, some blessings, and I'm going to have them help me get on my feet? Like, how did you go about starting that business? Because taking a leap of faith, I mean, you got to be very brave. You got to be courageous. So what did you do? Did you fund your dream with your regular 9 to 5, or did you just quit cold turkey and you was on the employment line trying to, I don't know, get some small funds, get some coins?
To be very honest, I went cold turkey. I stepped out on faith because my faith never failed me. Never failed me, and it never will. And I can say never to that. So
wait. Just to preface that, what is your faith exactly?
I'm a spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. So I'm one who I heal people spiritually. I do readings of that sort, and I'm like a meditative kind of chakra kind of person. So that's what I'm into. Yeah, but I'm not religious at all.
All right.
So I stepped out on faith. Yep. And since then, I've never been disappointed.
Can you say faith or stepped out on spirit?
No, it's still faith, because I do believe there's a higher power, of course. There's always spirit guides looking over me, protecting me, whether it be ancestors, spirit guides, my angels. I definitely believe in that aspect, but I'm not religious. I don't believe in the Bible, I should say.
Were you raised in the church setting, or
I absolutely was.
Christianity? What made you not believe? Let's start there. Like what veered you away from the traditional, biblical sense of spirituality and faith?
All of my traumatic, whether it be childhood years, adulthood years, teenage years, I went through a lot of traumatic events in my life. And through that, I didn't feel like there was anything actually pulling me through or helping me. I was like digging myself deeper and deeper into a black hole.
Okay.
And stepping out on that type of faith didn't help me at all. Not in any aspect of my life.
So what was your awakening or becoming?
That happened like in my mid-20s.
Okay.
And
you look like you're not a day over 19, girl. Anyway. So all right, so you're mid-20s.
Yes, it happened in my mid-20s. When, of course, there's always someone that approaches you about certain things that they see. Mm-hmm. And then you start to merge into a different lane, and you start to, become curious. And I became curious, and that curiosity is what led me to where I am today spiritually, and it is beautiful.
So the curiosity that leads you to so how does someone transition? So if anybody listening, right? So right. That has curiosity. Mm-hmm. How does their curiosity then lead them to a transformative change where they're able to heal or teach or, I don't know, care for other people? Like, are there books? Did you self-study? Did you go on a retreat for 6 months in the mountains of the Himalayas? Like what, like, give me some insight.
Read certain books. Also did, of course, meditate. When you meditate, you get a lot of spiritual downloads. Like building an altar table for your ancestors and so forth. Like there's certain things that are, like, I'm very intuitive, and I also see things and I also feel things, and that's all energy. And basically they're all spiritual downloads, and I get them all through dreams and what so have you.
Something that is, I don't mean to cut you. Is it something you've always had or something that you developed?
It's something I always had that I never knew to tap into until my 20s, until I was introduced to that particular person. And then from there, I just went deeper and deeper and deeper. And then that's where, my healing began, because Christianity didn't teach me about healing childhood traumas and what so have you.
So, I have a quick question. Taib, right? I'm pronouncing your name correct, Taib?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Would you classify Priscilla's religion as the voodoo?
Now,
I just want to make it clear. I was like, did he look at her? But my Zoom is weird. My Zoom is weird. You're going to be looking at Yao. But my Zoom, it didn't look like you.
She mentioned the fact that she hears a lot of ancestors and she hears a lot of things through dreams and all these things. So these are like mediums. She goes through mediums and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff is like really, there's a lot of people that do that in Africa. There's a lot of people that have these things. They have ties to like spirits and stuff like that. But one of the things that led me to actually consider Christianity is the fact that we have to understand one thing. Like, first, there can be many gods. That's just premise number one, because there has to be a God that transcends all things. Because if there was ever a time when there was nothing, what could there possibly be now? I'm asking you the question. If there was ever a time when there was nothing, what could there be now? What do you think of? Nothing, correct? Because out of nothing comes nothing. So
that's that math right there, boy.
He's on equations, man. You really are good at math, huh?
Yeah, you
really are good at math. He said, yeah, x to the y.
I'm over here like
equals 10z. I'm like, you said about what?
So that's the premise that we start off with. If there was ever a time when there was nothing, then there could be nothing now. So therefore, there is one God. And then there's like people that have like substituted the glory of God for what you call demi-gods or little gods or idols. You see, this is why I used to think, back then I used to think it was hard to prove that God exists. But it's the easiest thing, because guess what? If anything exists now, then there has to be a necessary being that has what you call in this theological term, aseity, meaning he owes his existence to nothing. Because there has to be someone that exists eternally. Because if you don't have that, then you have nothing else.
So, Taib, I have a quick question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we mentioned God, and that's pretty vast, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about God.
Mm-hmm.
So do you only recognize, I know you're of Christian faith, but do you only recognize God, your only way to God, your only path to God as Christianity, or do you also recognize Islam, Hinduism, and voodoo?
I'll say this. I recognize that they exist.
Papa Shango.
But what you have is this. This is the main ingredients. It's what you call the absolutes. So if you don't have any absolute, then you end up with a bunch of relatives. So what you have is this. You first have to establish what is truth. There's some, like, for example, if I say, what's 2 + 2?
6.5.
7.5.
Now you see right there, everybody's laughing because you know why. What's 2 + 2? It's 4, right?
4.
Now, if you go to Bangladesh, what is 2 + 2?
4.
If you go to Ghana, what would be 2 + 2?
I don't know. Ghanaians.
Two chops. 2
right?
chops.
So basically, it's a universal law that says 2 + 2 is 4. No matter where you are, 2 + 2 is always going to be 4.
All right. So how do you bring that back to Christianity? I don't get the correlation. Let's go back.
Okay, I'll show you the
I
correlation.
missed it.
So the interesting thing is this: there has to be an absolute, because without the absolute, there is no basis for truth. So therefore, if you tell me today that if for example, if I come and I'll take your wallet,
Okay.
how would you feel?
If you took my wallet?
If I took your wallet, I took your money, and I say you get away from here because I'm stronger than you,
Mm-hmm.
is that wrong or is that right?
It's obviously wrong.
How do you know it's wrong?
Because my wallet.
I mean, the government does that every day. So I just say, okay.
It's my wallet to begin with.
You see, you're making Christianity into like I'm a Christian, correct?
Okay.
Right?
Correct.
I go out and I start shooting everybody in the school.
Uh-huh.
You know what people are gonna say? This is how Christian people are.
But you see,
But it's still,
but it's happened.
I'm a bad witness.
Over melody and grand piano pedalings. I do represent the mind like IQs, intelligent signs in our